Bride's Day, Bride's Way. If you've heard these words, run now. These are the real-life horror stories from the spoiled princesses working the red carpet, church aisle. It's every bride's worst nightmare. Let's have a look. 9 Bridesmaids from Hell. Number 9. Boozed Up Bridesmaid. A 19-year-old UK native named Caitlin Haston ruined her sister's big day back in August 2018 when she was dramatically handcuffed and arrested by the police after the ceremony. The authorities were called at 1 a.m. as Caitlin, whose social media posts reveal her wild party lifestyle, drunkenly screamed outside the luxury hotel wedding in Llandudno, Wales. When law enforcement got there, they calmly asked her to go to bed, but she refused. This ended in her arrest. According to prosecutor Robert Blakemore, Caitlin tried standing up but was too unsteady and almost fell down. She was still wearing her bridesmaid's dress and her shoes were gone, but she reportedly told officers she would walk home fine, even though she couldn't even tell them where that was. After watching her sister, Jaren, marry Jonathan Crowther earlier that day, Caitlin yelled as officers put her in cuffs and took her down to the station. But when they got to the jail, the young woman refused to get in the cell and even kicked a cop twice as they held her down on the floor to unclothe and search her. She taunted the officer and inappropriately told him, "I hope your kids have Asperger's and effing hate you." As a result of her actions, Caitlin was charged with disorderly conduct and assault, both of which she pleaded guilty to. She was handed a fine of £190 and was ordered to pay an extra £150 in compensation to the officer, as well as £115. There's no good excuse for this bridesmaid. Number 8. Heartbroken Bride. In late 2020, a bride called off her ceremony after finding out her fiancé was sleeping with one of her bridesmaids. The woman apparently learned of her lover's affair on her way to the wedding venue in Abuja, Nigeria. The groom was accused of having an intimate romantic relationship with the bride's best friend, who was also a bridesmaid. Footage of the incident was recorded by a witness on their mobile phone. It shows the infuriated bride stepping out of her car in her white gown, but she refuses to step foot inside the church. Right then and there, she calls off the entire wedding and walks away from the venue in tears. The groom, dressed in his black suit, can then be seen chasing the woman down, saying, "I'm trying to explain, please." But the visibly upset bride wanted nothing to do with him and only replied saying, "Don't touch me." The couple then continues to argue with each other next to a busy road as the distraught woman tries to escape. Other wedding guests took notice of the commotion outside and soon came out to record the incident. A guest in a yellow top tried to get the bride to stay until things calmed down, but she was pushed away by the upset woman. According to local news outlets, she called off the ceremony and left the church by herself that day. The cheating groom and both families were stunned by the dramatic turn of events, and luckily for the almost bride, nobody convinced her to carry on with the ceremony. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now. Number 7. Aleyna Yildiz. In 2021, a woman from Germany, originally from Turkey, was uninvited from one of her friends' weddings because she apparently looked too good in the bridesmaid's dress that was given to her. Aleyna Yildiz shared her story online after committing one of the biggest sins in the wedding world, looking better than the bride. The other bridesmaids were also given extravagant and expensive dresses to wear to the ceremony, but the bride only seemed to have an issue with Yildiz. The woman explained to TMZ that she was told the dress was too attention-grabbing on her, but Yildiz said that if the bride thought the dress would be too sexy on any of the 6 bridesmaids, she should have picked something else, not a dress with a thigh-high slit. What did she expect? Not surprisingly, her friendship with the bridesmaid has since ended, with the whole situation leaving Yildiz feeling that she meant nothing to the woman as a friend. In the end, Yildiz stayed home from the wedding, but she still took some pretty pictures of herself in the forbidden dress. Number 6. Daniel Carney. In Delaware in 2022, Daniel Carney forced himself on one of the bridesmaids in his own wedding. The woman had passed out after drinking a bit too much. The bridesmaid claimed that she woke up to Daniel biting and sexually groping her. She was so drunk, though, that she lost consciousness again, waking up later to find the groom on top of her. The incident happened after a pre-wedding celebration, and it was the soon-to-be bride that discovered the two together. After the fact, Daniel allegedly sent several text messages to the bridesmaid pleading with her to take Plan B, a pill designed to end a potential pregnancy. He claimed the two of them didn't actually have sex, but that he wanted to be damn certain just in case. As a result of his actions, Daniel was hit with 5 charges, but he was only found guilty of 4. These included simple assault and attempted sexual assault. He could now face up to 10 years in prison, and on top of everything else, he'll have to register as a sex offender after his sentencing. What would you do if you found out your fiancé was cheating the day of your wedding? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you like the video so far. Number 5. Fireball. On January 6, 2017, Amanda Willis completely ruined her best friend's wedding in Punta Gorda, Florida. And guess how she did it? The woman downed an entire bottle of Fireball all by herself. The 35-year-old was supposed to be the maid of honor for Jennifer Butler, but she couldn't handle the responsibility and instead found comfort at the bottom of a bottle. For some strange reason, Willis then started asking wedding guests for their keys after growing extremely intoxicated. When nobody handed them over, she stole the best man's car keys out of his pocket and tried to drive off in his car. In the process, she almost ran over the man, who was frantically trying to stop her from stealing his ride. A few wedding guests noticed what was happening and went out to help wrestle Willis out of the vehicle. But afterward, she went right back inside to drown herself in more alcohol. The situation only got worse when Willis punched another guest named Robert Templeton in the face. He didn't just sit there and take the assault, though. He hit her back. The police were called to the scene, but when they arrived, Willis pretended like she was having a heart attack and even went as far as faking a seizure. She was then transported to the hospital, where she continued messing around by assaulting 2 medics, flashing cops, and kicking over her bedpan. What a charming woman! After getting sent out of the hospital, Willis was booked into the Charlotte County Jail and was charged with battery, larceny, violation of probation, and grand theft of a motor vehicle. This was apparently the 9th time she'd been arrested in that county alone. It's probably safe to say she won't be invited to another wedding anytime soon. Number 4. Jennifer Wheeler. In 2008, a woman from Owensville, Ohio was accused of driving under the influence while on the way to her sister's wedding, where she happened to be a bridesmaid. According to authorities, 28-year-old Jennifer Wheeler's car was found along the road by state troopers, where it had run into a tree. She was charged with driving with an invalid license and under the influence. Based on police reports, Wheeler faced other charges as well, including child endangering, since both of the woman's kids were in the back seat of the car during the incident. Even though she was clearly intoxicated, she had the audacity to say, "I've never been in any trouble, and I'm a great mother," in court. She also claimed she wasn't under the influence of alcohol, conveniently having nothing to say about there being any drugs in her system at the time. But after being searched by police, Wheeler had Xanax pills hidden in her bra and purse. She told officers and the judge that the pills were prescribed to her, but it's unclear if that was actually true. In the end, she was booked into the Claremont County Jail and held on a $5,000 bond. Unfortunately, the results of this case are unknown. Number 3. The murder of Katie Ruff. After being a bridesmaid at her mom's wedding in Woodthorpe, York back in 2017, little Katie Ruff was found dead with her throat cut in a field just 2 weeks later. Katie's devastated mother, Allison, toppled to her knees after the girl's body was discovered an hour after the 7-year-old finished school that day. Apparently, a 15-year-old was charged with the crime and was in possession of an offensive weapon. According to a neighbor whose partner worked at the hospital the girl was taken to before she was declared dead, Katie was stabbed twice. The woman told news outlets that a nurse who was treating Katie told her partner what happened. The police questioned the 15-year-old killer, while forensic officers gathered more evidence around the wealthy neighborhood, where homes cost well over £350,000. Consultant engineer Rob McCartney reported seeing the child's body in the field near the quiet cul-de-sac and saw Allison running up the street screaming for help. Rob told The Sun that Katie's mom was extremely distraught and the girl's father had to comfort her. The tragic attack happened less than a mile away from the family's home in Foxwood, York. Denise Wright, one of the family's neighbors, said it was a sad start to the year after happily finishing 2016 with Paul and Allison's wedding. Katie was liked by everyone in the area and, according to Denise, a lot of kids were going to miss her dearly. At the 15-year-old's initial hearing in February 2017, she pleaded not guilty to murder. Over the course of her trial, she underwent 4 mental health evaluations to try and determine the disorder she suffered from. Unfortunately, the results were inconclusive, but professionals agreed her mental state had something to do with her motive for killing Katie. Despite evidence presented that indicated the murder was premeditated, the Crown Prosecution Service agreed that it was just the result of the girl's mental disorders. As a result, she was charged with manslaughter on the ground of diminished responsibility. She eventually pled guilty to this charge and was detained for life due to her mental state. The killer was also ordered to serve at least 5 years in prison. Number 2. Carly Williams. In 2017, 34-year-old Carly Williams suffered a cardiac arrest after walking down the aisle as a bridesmaid in her sister's London wedding. The mother of 2 was lucky to even be alive, but felt guilty about ruining her sister Jodi's big day. After losing consciousness, Carly only remembers waking up in the hospital 2 days later. She'd apparently gotten sick at the venue where she was the maid of honor. As Jodi reached the altar at the top of the aisle, she heard a commotion behind her, and when she turned to see what was happening, she saw her sister face down in another bridesmaid's lap. She didn't initially realize anything was wrong and just assumed Carly was being a drama queen, but it quickly became obvious something serious was going on with the woman. Carly's heart had to be restarted with one of the hotel's defibrillators, and afterward, she was taken to the hospital and put into a chemically induced coma. Doctors apparently discovered an electrical problem with the woman's heart, and she was fitted with an internal defibrillator since medical professionals were unable to determine what exactly caused Carly's cardiac arrest. In the end, Jodi's wedding was canceled, but Carly's life was saved. Number 1. Gypsy Wedding. In 2013, an episode of TLC's My Big Fat American Gypsy Wedding aired, in which a non-gypsy girl chose to wear a massive 8-foot-long dress to the ceremony. The bride, Eden, picked out the massive gown for the big day, only for it to be too heavy, causing an embarrassing fall on the dance floor. In the episode, there's a clip showing one of the girl's blonde bridesmaids carrying the long skirt since it was taking up too much room. The dress was apparently so heavy that, according to Eden, she couldn't even use the bathroom by herself. After falling in front of her close friends, family, and wedding guests, the petite bride decided enough was enough. Luckily, though, Eden planned for this ahead of time just in case. In an instant, the girl removed the poofy skirt, morphing the dress into a tight-fitted blue miniskirt, an outfit perfect for dancing. In hindsight, the girl's bridesmaids really dropped the ball and could have stopped Eden's embarrassing spill on the dance floor had they spoken up. Someone really should have told her that wearing such a big dress to her wedding was a terrible idea. If you found out your maid of honor slept with your future husband, would you cut them both out of your life immediately? Or would you take the opportunity to embarrass them during the wedding ceremony for revenge? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on The Fact Checked.